What's up guys? This is your regular English major student, Denise Tanyak, and today in this presentation, I'm gonna talk about the types of nouns, a presentation made by me. So as we all know it guys, nouns have been very basic in our educational system. From elementary to high school, even in college, we're still talking about nouns. So in this presentation, I'm not just gonna talk about what nouns are, but rather I'm gonna talk about its types. Because nouns aren't just nouns. There are different kinds of nouns. So before we begin with the types of nouns, let us first refresh our knowledge regarding nouns. So what is a noun? Now, a noun is a word that is the name of something such as a person, an animal, a place, a thing, a quality, an idea, or action. So basically, everything are nouns. I am a noun. You are a noun. Even my mom is a noun. So basically, everything in this world is a noun. Now, we're referring to the general name, of course. So, those are nouns. Now, here are the types of nouns that I will discuss all throughout this presentation. So, we have common nouns, proper nouns, concrete nouns, abstract nouns, compound nouns, collective nouns, count nouns, and mass nouns. So those are the 8 kinds of nouns that I will discuss in detail all throughout this presentation. So let us first begin with the most common or most basic of all, which is a common noun. Now, common nouns refer to the names of common things. They do not specify the exact name, but rather the general name instead. So common nouns give the common name for common things. They do not give the specific or exact name or proper name, but rather they give the general name. So here are some examples of common nouns. So we have a Pokemon, a dog, and a festival. Now these examples have their very own specific or exact names. But if we're going to refer to their common nouns, these are basically it. So as additional input for common nouns always begin with lowercase or small letters. So those are common nouns. Now in contrast to common nouns, we have proper nouns. Now proper nouns are the exact opposite of common nouns. Proper nouns refer to the proper or specific name of an object, an event, a place, or etc. So, if common nouns give the general name, proper nouns give the specific, exact, or proper name of something or someone. So, here are some examples of proper nouns. Now, the examples for our proper nouns are taken from the examples that were given in common nouns. So, we have the Pokemon, the dog, and the festival. Now, if we're gonna refer to the proper noun of the Pokemon, it would be Bulbasaur. For the dog, it would be Golden Retriever. And for the festival, it would be Sinulog Festival, which is in the Philippines. So those are proper nouns, the exact, specific, or proper name of something or someone. So as additional input for proper nouns in contrast to common nouns, always begin with an uppercase or big letter. So those are proper nouns. Now next we have our concrete nouns. Now concrete nouns refer to names of things that physically exist and can be felt using the 5 senses, namely the sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. So concrete nouns, they physically exist. You can see them, you can touch them, you can feel them. They have physical forms or material manifestations in our physical or material plane. So here are some examples of concrete nouns. So we have a wool, a concrete block, and a quill. Now based from these examples, you can actually see them, you can feel them, you can touch them. They physically exist. So those are concrete nouns. Now in contrast to concrete nouns, we have abstract nouns. Now abstract nouns refer to names of ideas, emotions, feelings, and it's general. They do not physically exist and cannot be felt with the five senses. So abstract nouns are the exact opposite of concrete nouns. If concrete nouns physically exist, abstract nouns do not. And they basically or commonly refer to ideas, emotions, feelings, and others of the like. So here are some examples. We have patriotism, happiness, and sadness. Based from these examples, they do not physically exist, but rather they exist within the realm of thought, within the realm of our minds. So those are abstract nouns. They do not have physical forms. They commonly refer to ideas, emotions, feelings, and others of the like. So those are abstract nouns. Next we have our compound nouns. Now compound nouns are names which are formed by combining two separate words and creating a new meaning to it. So compound nouns are basically two different words with different meanings mashed together creates a new word with a new meaning to it. So here are some examples of compound nouns. So we have the flashlight, the butterfly, and blacksmith. As you can see from these examples, they are formed with two separate words mashed together creates a new word with a new meaning. So for flashlight, we have flash and light. For butterfly, we have butter and fly. For blacksmith, we have black and smith. So these are compound nouns. Separate words, different words with different meanings, mashed together creates a new word with a new meaning. Next we have our collective nouns. Now collective nouns refer to names of things, animals, or people that are in a group or cluster. So they do not exist as only one being, but rather there are many of them. So here are some examples of collective nouns. We have pack of wolves, a flock of sheep, and an army. As you can see from these examples, there is not only one entity, but rather there are many of them. And what's more, they're in a group and in a cluster. So those are collective nouns. They refer to groups. Now next we have our count nouns. Now count nouns refer to names of things which can be counted or is countable. So if you can count them, if they're countable, then they're count nouns. Now here are some examples of count nouns. We have apples, slices of bread or bread, and cookies. Now as you can see from these examples, you can actually count them. Like, how many apples are there? There are 4. How many slices of bread are there? There are 4. And how many cookies are there? There are 5. So those are count nouns. If you can count them, if they are countable, then they're count nouns. In contrast to count nouns, we have mass nouns. Now mass nouns refer to names of things which are impossible to count due to their sheer number or volume. So mass nouns are basically count nouns that are impossible to count because there are too many of them. So here are some examples of mass nouns. So we have stars, hair, and rice. Now in these examples, you can actually count them if you want. You can count them one by one. But the problem is, there are too many that you'd actually lose track of counting, or you'd lose your mind before you actually figure out how many they are. So they are mass nouns. You can't count them because they're too many. So that basically ends my presentation. So let's have a short recap on the types of nouns that we have discussed. So we have common nouns that refer to general names, proper nouns, the exact or proper or specific name, concrete nouns, things that physically exist, abstract nouns, they do not exist and commonly refer to ideas, emotions, and feelings, compound nouns, two words mashed together creates a new word with a new meaning, collective nouns, nouns that refer to groups or clusters, count nouns, you can count them, they're countable, mass nouns, you can count them but they're too many to count or they're too impossible to count. So those are the types of nouns. So that basically ends my presentation. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have learned something. So this is your regular English major student, Denise Tanya, signing off.